listening to the Time for Hemp Global Broadcasting Network. Please share us with your friends.
Hi, folks. This is Al Byrns for Veterans Voices. We're on timeforhemp.com, and we recommend that you check in frequently with timeforhemp.news, which will bring you information about the hemp plant, cannabis plant, and the things and people that surround it. But for now, Al and my co-host Mike Krawitz, who is not here today, or at least not right at the moment, we hope Mike might check in later, are here to represent Veterans for Medical Cannabis Access. This is a veterans organization started some 13 years ago to provide just what the organization says, medical cannabis access for veterans in the VA program. And we did so. Beginning in the summer of July 2010, veterans have been allowed in VHA facilities all over the country where cannabis is legally, medically, or legally for recreational use, to be used by veterans in their treatment protocols in VHA facilities. I think this is important. So does Mike. And frankly, Mike Krawitz did the majority of the work to make this happen, to get the VHA to understand that veterans and other people who have experienced some sort of trauma, both physical and emotional, can use cannabis successfully within a Western medicine protocol. That's what the VA is essentially doing. So with that, we have introduced, as you guys know that listen to this program, various healthcare professionals and veterans from everywhere to discuss their experience with cannabis, with the military, with their particular illnesses or whatever. And today we have another one of those veterans. He is Rick. Rick served with the U.S. Coast Guard. Hey, Rick.
Hey, Al. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, sir. Yeah, it's good, and you're coming in loud and clear. You sound really good. Tell us all, because you have an audience out there, where you come from.
Alan, I've been thinking long and hard about this, what to say to fellow veterans out there. And, I think the first thing the Veterans Administration and the people that even write our laws have to do is look at the veterans as human beings. And, I served in the U.S. Coast Guard, and I was a coxswain officer at Outer Banks in North Carolina, running 44 motor lifeboats. And I'm blessed, and I would say this to all veterans out there listening, that if you can get a hold of anybody you serve with, I would tell you that is the greatest support you will ever have. And I am blessed by numerous gentlemen that I served with, 40 years ago, and we see each other once, sometimes twice a year, and we talk all the time. And the reason I say treat people like human beings is that, and I will only push my beliefs in the Lord, and I believe that God put everything on this earth for us to use to help take care of us, to live, to eat, everything. And just we haven't found everything yet. I mean, look at fungus is what? Penicillin, aspirin is a plant, and we can go on and on and on. And, I have to admit, when I got out of the service, I got into law enforcement with the feds and corrections and stuff like that. And when I got hurt, I was quite young, and I was in the middle of my career. I had gone to schools and everything I had to do, and I was actually just, my career was blossoming. And to those young vets out there, and for those that particularly got hurt when you were young, people don't realize the injuries is just a small part of it. You lose everything, basically, and you lose your jobs, your dreams. Sometimes it affects also your family, and losing your spouse is quite hard. God made us so we can share happiness, sadness, and things like that, but we can't share pain. And several years ago, when cannabis was first being spoken about, I was probably skeptical, like to some people, and thought maybe it was just a ploy just to get it all legal. And one day I had a surgical procedure on my neck. I've had several on my spine. I'm actually slowly becoming a paraplegic from my neck down. And the pain, especially nerve pain, is quite. And for those out there that live this nightmare, they'll know that when it comes to pain, there's very little bit of medicine out there that helps with pain. And really, it doesn't seem to help at all. It never helped me. I've been hurt now 30 years. I've been on this earth almost 58 years. I've been hurt almost as long as I've been alive. And I can tell you over those years, I've tried all kinds of things. I fought it for years before I went into pain management and finally had to break down because it just got so intense you just can't deal with it. It's hard for people to understand what chronic pain is all about. You know, I never thought of it. Most vets and people out there hurt, they don't ever think about it, you know, I mean, unless you live it, because it's something you can't understand. You can try, but it's a whole different way of life. And it's just like being a veteran and trying to talk to others about their experiences. They just don't get it. But you can talk to one of your fellow vets, especially ones that served right alongside of you, and they'll get it in a second. I had another procedure on my neck, and it went wrong. All the hardware, everything busted loose. There's nothing in there supporting my neck but the muscle itself right now. The pain is intense. After the surgery, it was so intense afterwards that for no exaggerations here, but just probably shy of 6 months, I did nothing but lay in my bed with my arms propped up. You couldn't do anything. You couldn't put your arm down. I mean, just going to the restroom was a fiasco. Trying to cook and take care of yourself, it's damn near impossible. But I did everything I was told to do. I tried the medicine, different surgical procedures, where they inject needles into you and put you to sleep and inject needles into you and everything else. And nothing worked. Nothing worked at all. And my kids approached me one day and asked me, said, "Dad, would you try cannabis?" My kids don't use cannabis or other drugs or anything like that, so it just blew me away, to be honest with you. And I had been asked once before, but I turned it down. And then this time I decided, yeah, you know, what I had to lose, you know, I mean, I was going out of my mind. And right after taking just like 3 hits, within minutes, the pain in my shoulders and arms was quelling down.
You are listening to the Time for Hemp Global Broadcasting Network. Please share us with your friends.